Go Mustang, the Coach Alexander Show, brought to you by Kim Assad, your real estate broker.
Hello Mustang Nation, Matt Carnes, Grapevine Booster here for Week 5 of the Coach Mike Alexander Show with your head coach of the Grapevine Mustang, Mike Alexander. Coach, we're coming off of a wild one. Friday night didn't go exactly the way you were hoping. It was a wild one. Just tell us what happened Friday night in Capel.
Well, it was two good high school football teams going at it, and everybody expected it was going to be a good tight football game, and didn't disappoint. We just felt like from the very beginning it just little things here and there just weren't clicking exactly the way we had planned or hoped for. From the very first play of the game, just having a bust on defense and allowed them to get, field position. And from that first play on, we were the whole first quarter felt like we were kind of behind the 8 ball, on yardage and in field position. And then, we had a couple of errant snaps here and there that, kind of stalled some drives out or, didn't necessarily go, snaps not on the ground, but just taking us out of our timing. And so I think it was, I don't know what it was. Looking back, we've been evaluated all weekend. I know that we made some mistakes, communication, we had a miscommunicated fake punt, that wasn't in the plan, but somehow got communicated from the sideline. And anyway, it was just one of those nights where it wasn't anybody's finest hour, but I think the thing that I'm really proud of is defensively our kids really stepped up and held a really good running back to less than 3 yards a carry. That kid had been averaging over 7 yards a carry, and I think he ended up like 2.7 or something on the night. Offensively, when we had our moments where we big played them, we didn't ever get the run game going like we wanted. And I think that hurt us a little bit. And then, the big thing that you can't worry about as a coach, but still out there is we had 2 touchdowns called back over very questionable holding penalties that I'm still trying to figure out what the officials actually saw so we can fix it. And but with all that said, I told our guys this morning we're still the same football team we were when the game started, with much needed experience in a tight game, and we saw that our kids were never going to stop fighting until the end.
Well, you talk a lot about fight on, and certainly you did that. You had the 2 touchdowns called back. You fell behind for the first time this season. Mm-hmm. You fought back to have it tied at the end of the 3rd quarter, and then you took a lead late and had a chance at the very end. Mm-hmm. And you saw even on the very last play of the game, the fight on. Yeah, the message is getting delivered.
Yeah, I was really proud of how our kids just kept plugging. Sure would have liked to punch it in when we had it 1st and goal from the 2, and once again we just didn't get a play communicated appropriately down there. We missed a motion on one of the downs that would have helped set up a play a little bit better. It was a night where we just didn't execute like we need to in big games. I trust that through all that the experience that we gained, is going to be valuable down the road, and as we finish this district run. Positives, we set ourselves up to take the lead. With about, I think, 6 minutes left in the game, we kick a 46-yard field goal with a first-year kicker, and a sophomore kid snapping the ball. So I mean, we did some good things. We didn't do enough of them consistently throughout the game to just take control of it. But to have the ball, with 15 seconds left on the 2-yard line. That's the one that kind of stings, because I feel like we got a little bit in too much of a hurry and didn't take our time when we could have, when the clock was stopped, and execute the play like we needed to. But it is what it is right now. We can't do anything about the past. We got to go compete this next week and work to be 1-0 this coming game.
Well, you talk about the game of football being a microcosm of life, and that game certainly demonstrated that because, like it or not, with the holding penalties, fair or not, it's representation of what life is. Sometimes life is just not fair.
There's no doubt, and we talk a lot in our program about life lessons, and in football you're going to have successes, and then you're going to have setbacks, and just like in life, you can't dwell on those setbacks, and if you do, you're going to risk missing an opportunity in the future, and so the opportunity we have right now is to get ourselves ready to play on Friday against Denton, and to get back in the driver's seat to not only qualify for the state playoffs, but still we're in position we can go win a district championship. The odds of any team in our district going undefeated, is marginal. I think that the top end of our district's very good, and we found that out the other night. We feel like we can beat Birdville, and feel like if given another opportunity we will. But I think that's the thing that across the district, I think anybody can beat anybody on most given night.
Well, it'll be interesting to see Friday night how the Mustangs recover, and I, as heard before, probably wouldn't want to be the Broncos on Friday night when y'all are coming out to recover from that. Let's talk about a little bit some of the individual plays. Of course, Jack Ertz had the big hustle play at the end that kind of demonstrated the Mustang DNA, but David Clayton had a couple of big plays. So let's look at some of the plays here and tell us what was going on in some of these.
So this was early in the game, second series, and this was a scramble play by the quarterback, threw the ball to I think's their best receiver, and Cameron Hamway breaks it up right on the sideline. That was a big play right there in that series to give us some momentum back. And then we come back, they end up punching it in later, and then we get back on the board with Jack Ertz getting singled up on the touchdown pass. You can say our offensive line, they protected Cade really well most of the night, and then him just getting the ball to our playmakers. David Clayton, he's been a beast all year. The biggest difference in David this year and last year is people are struggling to tackle him. He's always been a great route runner, but now he's gotten so much stronger, and it's not an easy deal just to get him on the ground once he catches it.
That was impressive.
Love for Zach Lasher here getting his first pick of the year. We jumped in a little one high safety at the end of the beginning of the play right there, and kind of confused the quarterback a little bit, and he was able to throw it to him. And then this is a big deal, 46-yard field goal by our kicker to give us a chance to win the game. And then obviously the last play right here. We had the ball 2-yard line, clock was stopped, probably hurried a little bit, and then, all heck breaks loose, and who knows what's going to happen there, but Jack Ertz, never stops fighting throughout the end of the play, chases that kid down, and just shows the heart, the heart of a champion right there.
Absolutely. If nothing else, his college coaches are going to relish having a guy like that on their roster.
Absolutely.
In the years to come. So the call at the end of the game, with all the chaos and confusion, they ultimately called it an illegal forward pass. Is that correct?
That is true.
What was the whole process there as the game was, and we were on the stands waiting for that call? What was happening?
Y'all knew as much as I did, honestly. They had me stand, away from them while they talked about it, and I don't know exactly what what the discussion was, but they came away from it saying that Roshan apparently tried to forward the ball, or lateral the ball forward, and I don't know. I know this, that that play right there, just kind of encapsulated the whole night for us. It was just a little bit off. I told the kids after the game, that one's on me. I think that anytime that you have a good football team and we don't show up as crisp as we need to be, first thing I'm going to look at is myself and our staff, and and figure out what we can do better. And so that's where we've been all weekend. And I'm telling you this, the conclusion we've come to is we got a good football team. that one play away from winning that game and being 5-0 and 2-0 in district. So we're not hitting the panic button by any stretch of the imagination. When two good football teams play, sometimes bad things happen to you, and sometimes you don't win the football game, and that's what happened here. And we're not gonna overreact to it. We're just gonna put our nose down and go to work and get ready for Denton this Friday.
Well, it was definitely a physical ball game, but your Mustangs just never quit. They kept fighting all the way to the end. That was impressive.
They did.
So looking forward, what do we have coming up this week?
Well, I tell you, I want to brag on some of our kids first. For Saturday morning, they could have been feeling sorry for themselves and could have been in the tank a little bit, and they were to a degree, but we shook it off and went over to Cannon Elementary on Saturday morning and helped those teachers unpack their classrooms. We broke down boxes, we carried debris outside, and just to help any way we could to get that school up and running, as they're planning on moving in and having class in there for the first time on Tuesday.
Wow!
So I was proud of our team for giving back to the community, in a time when they could have been thinking a lot about themselves, but they were eyes out and they jumped on that opportunity. So proud of those guys for that. This week, practice is a little bit different. Today we didn't have school, so our guys are up here at 6:15, which also speaks to just the commitment level and what it takes to be a Mustang, and play football, because 20 or 2,100 students or whatever we have on campus, we have 115 of them out at the practice field this morning at 6:15. That's saying something. That's special. And they're ready to shake it off and move forward. And then, added tweaks to the schedule this week. We also have a PSAT week this week, and so Wednesday we're not going to be able to practice before school. We'll have to go after. So it just fits into our motto: just fight on. When your schedule gets disrupted,
keep
fight
fighting.
on. Good news is we have 2 JV games this week, both at CTMS 5:30 and 7. So all of our kids will get a good amount of reps and look to get better there. And then we actually picked up a game on this Wednesday for our freshman blue team. We're going to play at CTMS against Richland. Apparently Denton High only has one freshman team, so the freshman blue will play here on Wednesday at CTMS versus Richland, and the freshman red will play at Denton High on Thursday night at 5:30.
Okay. Well, that's good, and of course, as we get ready for the game Friday night, we'll have Breakfast of Champions Friday morning, 7:15 sharp. That's probably a message to myself as much as anything. But it will be 7:15, and a real treat coming with Russell, Maryland. I just wonder if your players actually understand how cool it will be to have a former Dallas Cowboy and a 10-year pro, the #1 pick in the draft from our younger days.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's funny, we have coaches on our staff that weren't sure who Russell Maryland was. And I was just thinking, are you kidding me,
I think we dated ourselves on that one, maybe, but he's still Russell Maryland.
Yeah, absolutely. And he showed up to Breakfast of Champions last week.
He did.
Just to check it all out, and it was really cool just to have him in our field house and shake his hand. It was like shaking a catcher's mitt, but man, he was such a good player for so long, and yeah.
So let's make the debate right now. Will he or won't he have the rings on when he comes on Friday morning?
Man, knowing him, I wouldn't be surprised if he left him at home, but I hope he doesn't. I hope he's wearing them.
I don't know that our kids really understand what it was like in the glory days around here, but he was a big part of it.
There's no doubt he was.
So looking forward to that. 7:15 sharp, Friday morning, Breakfast of Champions. All the dads and men of the community are welcome to come join us, bring some food for the players and the coaches. We will see you there. Game time, 7 o'clock Friday night in Denton. What are we looking for this week with the Broncos?
So they're a heavy run-oriented team. They have a really talented junior running back. Last name's Posey, wears number 33. He's a very imposing figure. I think he's about 5'10", 200 pounds. On video, you think, is he is he very fast? I don't know. So we looked it up, and sure enough, he ran 10,900 meters last year. So he's plenty fast.
He's got wheels.
He's fast and he's physical. You know, their record's not indicative of how good a football team they are. I'm not sure what was going on early in their season, trying to figure some things out, but over the last 2 weeks, they've really got it rolling. They gave Denton Ryan all they wanted in the first half 2 weeks ago, and just really put the hammer down last week and got their offense rolling. But they want to run the football, and they want to run the football to set up the pass, and defensively, you know, I'd probably equate them a lot to Northwest in terms of up front. They're going to attack the gaps, be physical. We've got to just do what we do. We got to continue to pass pro and protect the quarterback, and we got to find ways to run the football. And we're looking at, you know, every angle we can to figure out what's going to be the best way to attack them on the ground, because we need to stay as balanced as we can.
Got it. Well, we'll find out how that works out Friday night, 7 o'clock at Denton High School. So we will see you there, and we'll be back next week for Coach Alexander's show for week 6 and find out how that goes. Special thanks to Fred Ertz and his staff for putting the show on again. Thanks for all the work they do. We will see you next week. And his staff.
Yeah, my staff.
It sounds so professional, though.
Yeah. Go Mustang. The Coach Alexander Show, brought to you by Kim Assad, your real estate broker.